Hello, I'm Christopher Bayliss from Intergage Fast Growth. Today we're focusing on the workbook that you've downloaded entitled Create Your Wow Business for Fast Growth. Wow Business. Interesting concept. Okay, with me on my left here is Catherine Snow. Catherine is Group Marketing Coordinator for C&O Tractors. We're at their head office in Blandford in England. And welcome. Thank you for giving up 10 minutes of your very valuable time just to work through. Catherine hasn't seen this particular workbook before, and that's great because you've just downloaded the workbook, so the same thing applies. So what I'm going to do today is just focus on a couple of companies that I think have created a wow business. And then I'm going to go through the workbook and identify 3 hints or tips to help the reader or the viewer to make the most from this particular workbook. Okay? So, I'd like to start with what I regard as mission impossible. It's the most dull business you could possibly imagine. It's the business of making and selling Portland cement. Portland cement, as you know, is a really uninteresting grey powder. You mix it with stone and water and sand and you turn it into concrete. And concrete, to many people, is dull, uninspiring. Just the opposite of wow. Would you agree?
It can be, yes.
Okay.
It gets more interesting architecturally, but yeah.
Okay. But the product itself, just to put the thing in context, this is videos and workbooks going all around the world. There's a company in China. Can you read the brand name there for me, please, Catherine?
It's Jinning Ram's brand.
Yeah, that's in English, but obviously the rest is in Mandarin. That's a 50 kg bag of Portland cement, obviously not been used, brand new, that's sold in China. And they sell 500 million bags of this every year. It's the leading bag manufacturer, bag cement manufacturer in China. How could you possibly differentiate that product? The bag is grey, the product's grey. Well, there's a very interesting company, originally, but it still is, headquarters in Mexico City, called SEMX. Over the last 10 years or more, it has grown at the rate of 100% per annum.
Okay.
100% per annum in a very saturated, commoditized market. And so much so that SEMX is now so profitable, so successful, it's buying up companies, cement and concrete businesses around the world. So for instance, in England, it bought one of our cement companies, Rugby Cement, and it bought Hanson, and it bought Redland Roof Tiles, buying up all these companies that have been going a long time because of this success. How it did it? Well, in the workbook, if you turn to page 1, what's the strategic problem? I focus on SEMX. So 25 years ago, it was just an ordinary, also-ran producer of cement. Certainly undifferentiated, quality but dull. Okay? In Mexico City, I'm going to read this because I think it's the sort of thing you could do outside of this, you know, when you start working on it and share it with your team. Poor people want to build extensions to their small houses. Okay? SEMX established cement traders, which are community saving groups, as you do when you're a cement company. Each member of a 10-person trader contributes £5, or the equivalent in Mexico, obviously, which is peso, per week for 10 weeks, and will just once win the weekly total of £50 to buy SEMX cement. A bit like a sweepstake or lottery. The product that is therefore, this is grey Portland cement, the product is therefore positioned as a gift of dreams to build rooms of love. Over 10 years, SEMX has achieved a 100% increase in sales each year. That's what I call a wow business. Didn't change the product, just did something extraordinary. On a more, or even more international, global level, I'd like to focus on Ford Motor Company. Okay, In 1970, around the world, they, as well as their own American brands, they had a model called the Zodiac, the 1970 Zodiac, the Mark IV. I actually was given one. My first company car was one. It was ponderous, unreliable and thirsty. A ridiculous thing. 20 years later, my wife loves Fords. She's very passionate. She's very committed to the big blue oval. And she always bought Escorts. Okay, that's fine to take the children to school, etc. But I drove them occasionally, but they're unexciting. Okay, yes, they were reliable.
It was my first car.
Yeah. Unexciting, reliable, comfortable. Whereas this was unreliable and ponderous. Today, she's the proud owner of a Fiesta EcoBoost. This is an amazing car. It's got a 1 litre engine, turbocharged, and because it's so economical, it's free of road tax, which is amazing. It's really exhilarating to drive and cool. It's okay to be seen in a Fiesta. I drive one now. I drive it. And for the last 2 years, it's been voted the European, well, it was voted the European Car of the Year award 2 years ago, but it's always winning, these sort of competitions. And I don't know if you can read that, Catherine, what it says now. Ford Motor Company.
Now the most profitable of volume manufacturers.
Fantastic. From loss-making a few years ago. So that's what I mean by creating that's a wow product. This is a wow business. Makes sense?
Yeah.
And I know in your own company at C&O, we're constantly working on how to create a much more wow and interesting business.
Yes, from a fairly standard product.
Commoditized. So what would be the advantage to you if you can create a wow business? Not just the product, which is an amazing thing, the tractors, etc., but a wow business.
We want to increase our profile in the local market, diversify the products that we sell, and cement our role here. Sorry to bad pun there, but yeah.
Okay, all right. The 3 hints in this particular workbook, apart from that thing about what I've just been sharing with you, the 3 hints is on page 2 is to evaluate the wow factors of your current selected business. And there are 10 factors. I don't know if you can see them there down that side, Catherine. And I asked people to rate each factor on a scale 1 to 10, where 1 is barely adequate and 10 is outstanding. So 10 factors, 1 to 10, that's a potential score of 100. Okay. Now, if the score comes out at, say, 60, okay, what are the conclusions? Well, what might they be if that score came to 60%?
60, that you're on your way, but you've still got a long way to go.
And it gives you an idea where to concentrate and then concentrate your things. So do the evaluation, identify some priorities to create the wow business. Really, really powerful. Secondly, and this applies to many of these workbooks, is set a goal. Nothing happens without a goal. And I liken a goal to an elastic band. Can I just share what I mean by that? This is the current business here, and this is the current goal. Just about, see there's no tension in there, whatever, nothing much happening. If you set a really ambitious goal, a really stretching, sorry, careful otherwise I might break it, bold, stretching goal, okay, that will pull up the business. Very important to set a bold, stretching goal, particularly if you want to create a wow business. So I stress that. So that's hint number 2. Do that with yourself to start with, then do it with your management team. And then, as you know, what you've been doing a lot of in C&O is flow charting processes. Flow charts are great because they show where the opportunities are and how you can create this business, this way of business. So if you think of SEMX, they would have flow charted some of those things we shared with you. So flow charting. And on page 4, there's a very simple little template for that, and you can use small post-its if it's just yourself to create a template, a flow chart of about 8 key steps. If you're working with a team, you can use bigger post-its and one of these bigger flip charts. So, just to summarise, think about your own business, think about how commoditized it is, and what the benefits would be in terms of making it something that people say, wow.
Yeah.
Secondly, look at the potential. You may be amazed how much potential there is. Thirdly, set a goal and then flowchart it. I'd just like to finish by saying this whole thing started about 20 years ago. There's a very famous American author called Tom Peters, who wrote a famous book called In Search of Excellence, that sold millions of copies in early 1980s. He's written lots of other books, but my favourite of Tom Peters is the Tom Peters Seminar. It's on paperback, it's dirt cheap. I don't normally recommend books, but I do recommend this, and particularly this chapter. If you can just read that, please, Catherine.
From TGW to TGR and wow.
Yeah, from things gone wrong to things gone right and wow. And that's that chapter there. It's on page 250 to 280. Treat yourself. And I don't know if you can see the picture there, Catherine, but there's Tom Peters. He's ex-McKinsey, very formal, but he was on stage in a pair of boxer shorts. So, finally, it's all about action. As a business leader of this company, and I know there's other people in this company you need to work with as marketing coordinator. If you create a bold picture, flowchart it, the next thing is to take action. And that's always the final page of all these workbooks, is taking action. There it is there. Take urgent, massive action.
Fantastic. Yeah.
May I thank you for your time?
You're welcome.
And wish you every success on your journey to wow.
Thank you very much. Thanks.